Everyone believes that flying is not for the average person, and you must be a millionaire to own and fly an airplane. That's not totally true. If you have more modest aims for your flying, like flying at a little over 100 knots, and your most frequent mission is taking 500 cross-country flights, then there are some truly cheap options available. Piper PA-12 Super Cruiser. After Piper realized that it couldn't exist forever selling the J3 Cub, it started making variants. The first of those that got the PA designation is the PA-12 Super Cruiser, a 3-seat update to the Cub that you fly solo from the front seat. This plane is extremely versatile. You can fit floats on it for water landings, skis to land on snowy areas, and even rugged wheels to land somewhere remote. Piper built nearly 400 of them between 1946 and 1948. Over the years, many of the remaining PA-12s have gotten wing flaps, and more than a few have gotten metal coverings, though bush pilots prefer fabric for its lightweight and easy repairability. Super Cruisers are surprisingly plentiful. You can still find most stock PA-12s for around $60,000 through $75,000 to $80,000 or thereabouts is more likely. They're easy planes to work on, though as with any plane built in the late 40s, you need to keep an eye on the metal structures, all of which, like the Super Cruiser's skin, can be replaced. Piper Tomahawk. The Tomahawk looked nothing like any previous or subsequent Piper, and because of that, it flew like nothing that came out of Vero Beach. One of the ideas behind the Tomahawk sounds really odd. The plane was designed to be harder to recover from a spin than its competitors. The idea was that it would allow instructors to show students how to get out of a spin better than planes like the 150 and 152, which were far more docile in their spin characteristics. The Tomahawk is sporty, has great visibility, and has a great engine. Most Tomahawks fall within the $35,000 range, though purchase prices are climbing, possibly due to flight schools looking to get their hands on cheap trainers before they all disappear. BeechCraft Musketeer. When this plane was introduced, it was a big deal. With all metal fuselages, trailing link landing gear, and great handling characteristics, the Musketeer is fun to fly. Up front, most have Lycoming engines, though some early ones had Continental engines. The Musketeer family are solid planes, decent performers, roomier than just about all of their competitors, and reasonable to own and maintain. There's a lot of confusion over which Musketeer is which, and that's understandable, as BeechCraft, at the time, did a terrible job of not only naming the plane, but also keeping the different varieties of it distinct in the potential customer's eyes. There are Musketeers ranging from the 150 horsepower Sport, designed for training with one fewer window per side, to the Custom 3, which was later named the Sundowner, to the Super 3, a 200 horsepower fixed gear model that would cruise at an advertised 130 knots and close to that in real life. The 200 horsepower retractable gear Sierra isn't a bargain on the used market, though it's developed from the same type certificate as the original Musketeer of 1966. To add to the confusion, the Custom had a subsequent model called the Custom 3, though there was no Custom 2, and the Super 3 never had a Super 1 or a Super 2. The cheapest Musketeer I saw during my research was listed for $30,000, and it's just one. The others ranged from $40,000 to $60,000, which is a bargain compared to the Cessna Skyhawk of the same vintage that'll go for around twice as much. American AA-1 Yankee, also known as the Grumman American Lynx. Designed by Jim Beattie back in the 60s, the AA-1 was indeed launched as a rival to Cessna's dominant 150 trainers. The Yankee is a little faster than the 150, and it has some cool styling too, including a sliding canopy that owners love. Although the handling of the AA-1 is not exactly trainer-like, they are very light on the controls, It takes a little time to get used to, but once the pilot does get used to it, it is a lot of fun. Several companies built versions of the AA-1, and every one of them made at least a few changes to the basic design. So, if you're going AA-1 shopping, do your homework and know what you're getting. There are a few popular mods out there, including engines up to 150 horsepower, which makes the AA-1 a fast machine. And the plane, like its four-place siblings, tends to cost less to maintain than comparable models from other companies. You can find mostly stock AA-1s for $40,000. They can go as high as $60,000 to $80,000 for more up-to-date models. Cessna 175 Skylark. Introduced in 1958, 2 years after the 172 Skyhawk, the 175 was designed to fill a niche between the 172 and the faster 182. The Skylark wasn't simply a 172 with a different engine, it was just, in fact, a step-up plane for those wanting more speed, power, and hauling ability than a 172, but less than a 182. Cessna built more than 2,000 of them, around half of which are still flying around today. You can still find great 175 values, as they aren't as highly prized by flight school owners who want slightly older Skyhawks with their well-known engines. Still, prices on 175s are heading north, but you can find these birds for around $40,000. That is about half of what most Skyhawks are going for. For that price, you get a good airplane. Cessna 140. When this airplane was introduced in the 40s, it was loved and highly accepted. Despite the fact that the post-war market was saturated with cheap airplanes, Cessna still managed to sell more than 7,500 of them over its 5-year production run. The little tail dragger had pleasing and docile handling and great landing behavior. The side-by-side seating is cozy, with a cockpit similar in dimensions to that of the 150, which is indeed an outgrowth of the 140. The Continental C85 and 90 engines it uses are cheap to get overhauled compared to other popular light plane engines of the day, and parts are still available through a variety of sources. You can find nice 140s on the used market for $40,000 or less. Ones in need of a little work sell for about $20,000 to $30,000, which might be a bargain once you address the plane's needs. Grumman Tiger. The Tiger is as versatile as the newest planes on the market today. Fun to fly, fast enough, capable and affordable to own are the defining characteristics of this plane. Visibility in this plane is great. With cruising speeds of over 130 knots, the Tiger gets down the road, and this it does with fixed gear and the 180 horsepower Lycoming 0360 engine. The range is surprisingly good too, at nearly 700 nautical miles. You can get a good used Tiger for around $45,000, which might not sound all that cheap until you consider the alternatives. What other plane will give you around 135 knots true, 650 plus nautical miles of range, the ability to carry 4, and a sporty feel for that same price? There are not many alternatives out there, especially when you factor in the reasonable ongoing maintenance costs of the Tiger. Flightstar 2SC. You can get Flightstars as single-seater true ultralights. In this case, you don't need a pilot's license, never mind a medical certificate to fly it. The 2-seat versions are experimental airplanes, even though they're built using conventional ultralight materials. Flightstars are built with aluminum tubing for the fuselage and wing structures, with the wings covered in sailcloth. These materials help create very light aircraft. Its enclosure keeps you out of the wind, and its simple construction and design mean easy flying and reduced maintenance. By law, these are designed to be very slow. Ultralights can't exceed 55 knots max straight and level speed, and the experimental versions aren't much faster. They also fly in a way that is very adverse to yaw and sensitivity to gusts. The Flightstar 2 comes standard with side-by-side seating with dual controls and 3-axis flight controls. There are no flaps, which is okay because the plane slips beautifully. Planes like this aren't for long cross-country flights because they're slow, have limited range, and there are a few creature comforts for the occupants. Instead, they excel at what they were designed to do, flying low and slow, the way all flying once was and the way many feel it's best done to this day. You can find them for around $15,000 with good sailcloth and low time, giving you a low initial investment, low maintenance cost, and a sky-high fun factor. TaylorCraft. The airplane's design has a conventional layout, a high wing, fabric-covered, 2-seat aircraft. The basic design has remained unchanged since 1936, and this design is sold as a personal sport aircraft today. TaylorCraft are simple machines that fly like lightweight, high-lift tail draggers do, light on the controls and with a good bit of adverse yaw. It's a pretty plane, and while there's not a lot of elbow room in the front seat, it's more of a social experience, and the center of gravity isn't affected as much when bringing along a passenger. You can find TaylorCrafts for less than $20,000, and really nice examples can be had for less than $30,000. BeechCraft Bonanza. Bonanzas are great values when it comes to doing what Bonanzas do well, which is haul a whole family and go places fast. But the thing is, how much you pay for this plane is only a small part of the problem. With older V-tail Bonanzas, maintenance costs can be both high and unpredictable. Bigger engines, constant speed props, retractable landing gear, obsolete radios, and hard-to-find tails that are made of a rare material add up to potentially high maintenance costs. But if you're up for the possibility of having to pay some hefty bills down the line, even if they might be intermittent ones, a mid to late 60s V-tail is hard to beat. With true airspeeds of 165 knots or better, the ability to fly long cross-country legs, the power to fly high, and the comfort and panache of Beechcraft quality are all hard to beat. To get one in great condition that won't need work for years, probably, you could be looking at $70,000 to $100,000, which sounds like a lot of money until you start comparing it with what you'd have to spend to get a comparable performance new plane. Then the value becomes clear. There's a 1970 model listed for $150,000 on controller.com, but on average, they sell for anything between $200,000 and $350,000. Cessna 150. When the Cessna 150 was introduced in the 50s, it was a revolutionary airplane at the time. This airplane gave instructors and students exactly what they were looking for: an easier-to-fly and land trainer that held up to a seemingly endless succession of bad student landings. The 150 is a great airplane with good visibility for sightseeing, space for a couple of good-sized duffel bags behind the seats, and enough room to seat 2 friendly, lean people. There are a lot of 150s out there too. The engine in the 150 is the Continental O200, which produces 100 horsepower and burns around 7 gallons per hour. The O200 is relatively cheap to overhaul, and parts are readily available for it. Some early 150s, like their 172 and 182 relatives, had the straight tail and fastback upper fuselage design, which some think looks cool. Later models were slicked out with swept tails and rear windows. Because they're so plentiful and offer such modest capability, the 150 is a terrific value. The cheapest I saw them on controller.com is a 1972 model listed for $16,000 in Moldova. It has about 13,000 hours on it, Most of the listings in the US start at $35,000. Budget anything between $25,000 and $40,000 though, because with the current market, prices can be unpredictable. BeechCraft Skipper. The all-metal Skipper was BeechCraft's mid-70s attempt to create the perfect new trainer to grab market share from Cessna, which owned the training game at the time. The plane is, as you can see, a low-winger with a rounded canopy and, the clincher, a T-tail. The Skipper is a great flying airplane with terrific control harmony and easy landing manners. The real selling point for many is the cockpit, which is roomy, nicely appointed, and strangely luxurious looking for a trainer. The guess at the time is that Beech didn't know how to design them any other way. The biggest challenge with buying a Skipper might be finding one. Beech only built around 300 of them, and they don't show up frequently on the used listings, but when they do, you can get them for around $30,000. ERCO Ercoupe. This airplane has been around so long, even before the Second World War. Over the decades, it was in off and on production by at least 5 different companies, including Mooney, which made a single straight-tailed version of the Ercoupe called the Mooney M20. Overall, more than 5,500 of the planes were produced. In 1937, Fred Week designed this plane to be hard to stall, easy to fly, and easy to land. The plane is all metal with tricycle gear and, unusually, features 2-axis control, so there's just pitch and roll, no rudders. This means you can't slip it as you can do with a conventional control bird, but they're still surprisingly easy to land, even in a slight crosswind. With the cruise speed of around 90 miles per hour, the coupe isn't fast, but it is pleasant to fly. Though there isn't a lot of shoulder room in its narrow cockpit, you can slide the canopy back in flight and enjoy the breeze. This plane is not particularly easy to find, but as at the time of this writing, there's a 1941 model currently listed on controller.com for $28,000. You can check other sources for more options. Cessna 170 or 172. The 170 is, of course, the immediate predecessor to the 172. And while the 170 is a tail dragger, the 172 is a tricycle gear plane, but the two share so much in common that it's fair to say they're two sides of the same coin. Still, despite the similarities, the personalities of the planes are very different. One is a fun, sporty, grass-strip time traveler, and the other is a utilitarian jack-of-all-trades that's equally at home as a trainer, IFR platform, short-haul transportation plane, or just a weekend fly thing. Both have their limitations, but for pilots who don't need any more than they offer, it's hard to beat the value of an all-metal, proven, supremely easy-flying four-seater with great visibility and a heritage that would make any owner proud. Up until 1968, when Cessna switched to Lycoming power, early 172s and all 170s came with a Continental 6-cylinder engine. Cessna discontinued the 170 in 1956, shortly after the introduction of the 172, which would go on to become the most produced plane in aviation history, with over 50,000 built. The 170 has soldiered on as a beautiful alternative, one that borders on being an antique, but still has a clean, modern look to it that attracted pilots some 60-odd years ago. And both planes are quite affordable, in part because of their sheer numbers. The 170 is not easy to find, but they typically sell for around $45,000 to $50,000. And for the 172, I have seen listings for 1960 and 1970s models for as low as $60,000. But there are not many. What you're most likely to find out there is anything between $80,000 and $100,000. Luscombe Silver 8. This airplane was designed to compete with the Cessna 140. Luscombe added rear windows and an open compartment to the previous Luscombe models and began production in 1946. This airplane features a 15-gallon wing tank, which, with its roughly 5.5 gallon per hour fuel burn, will still keep the plane up in the air for a reasonable length of time. Cruise speed comes in at around 100 knots. Further improvements in the form of a new 90-horsepower Continental engine, better landing gear, and a full electrical system were added in 1948. With full fuel, the Silvair can carry about 400 pounds. The narrow landing gear and responsive controls can make it a bit interesting to land, especially for pilots with a lot of tailwheel time. Currently, you can find this airplane listed for around $40,000 for the early models. They used to sell for $15,000 to $20,000, but ever since the pandemic, airplane prices have gone up by almost 80%. Piper Cherokee 140. The Piper PA-28 140 Cherokee arrived in early 1964 as a replacement for Piper's high-wing PA-20 Colt. The all-metal, low-wing aircraft was primarily intended for use as a trainer, competing with the Cessna 150. It might not have won that battle, but it did grab some market share, and for good reason. The entry-level Cherokee 140 has a reputation for reliability and easy handling. The 140 is powered by the 140-horsepower Lycoming 0320 engine. The two-seat design was updated just a year later, becoming the 144, which could be configured as a four-seater. The update also bumped the engine on it from 140 to 150 horsepower. The 150 horsepower version cruises at 108 knots and will travel a respectable 465 nautical miles. It can haul around 950 pounds of useful load, a decent figure for a 150 horsepower airplane, but many owners look at the 140 as a good-sized two-seater with a large luggage bench in the back. For a nice used 140, the price can be as low as $35,000, but budget around $40,000 to $50,000 if you hope to find one in excellent condition. Stinson 108. The Stinson 108 was built by the Stinson Aircraft Company in the 40s and 50s. This airplane features a fabric-covered steel tube fuselage, though aftermarket modifiers obtain supplemental type certificates, allowing conversion to an aluminum covering. The four-seat 108 can cruise at more than 110 miles per hour and can operate comfortably from unimproved strips, though its short field performance with the stock Franklin 165 horsepower engine isn't as sprightly as some of its competitors. Still, the 108 packs an impressive useful load of 1,100 pounds, and it has proven a popular plane among float and ski operators in the bush, with many remarking how much better looking the 108 is when it's airborne, on skis, or floats. Many 108s have been modified with larger or non-Franklin engines, and a good number have been metallized, with sheet metal instead of fabric over the original two-built fuselage. With its ability to carry 4 FAA-sized passengers, full fuel, and a good amount of cargo on top of that, the 108 arguably competes with the Cessna 182 and Piper 235, two planes that are popular and command much higher prices than the 108. You can find nice 108s for anywhere from $75,000 upwards. Mooney M20s. The speed of this airplane made it desirable, and it holds its value strongly. The M20C Ranger and the M20E Chaparral, or Super 21, models can be acquired at bargain prices if you look around. The Chaparral is a particularly attractive airplane. With its 200 horsepower Lycoming engine, the plane is a reliable 160-knot cruiser with a good useful load around 1,000 pounds and a decent range of around 600 nautical miles. These planes are somewhat cozy in front and tight in the back, but for pilots who fly most often solo or with one passenger, they work beautifully. The least you can get any M20 at currently is about $80,000, and it's rare. Many of the listings are around $100,000 to $150,000, even as high as $250,000. And for that, you can get a nice airplane, sometimes with mods and sometimes with a newly overhauled engine. There are few or no high-performance used planes that can compete in terms of value, cost of ownership, and operating costs with a good, older Mooney. Aeronca Champion. This little tail dragger, which was a direct competitor to the J3 Cub for a time, is in some ways a better airplane than the Cub. Like the J3, it's got tandem configured seating, but unlike the Cub, a solo pilot in a Champ sits in the front seat, so visibility while taxiing is good. The Champ is considerably easier to land than the J3. Though it feels heavier on the controls than the J3, the Champ requires a bit less attention than the J3 while offering the same terrific view downward. For those folks who want a Cub and who haven't flown a Champ, I'd highly recommend begging for a ride in one if you can. Champions don't often show up on the used market, but when they do, be prepared to pay around $35,000 or more if you want to get your hands on one. Diamond DA20 Katana. Consider adding wings to your favorite sports car. When you strap into the two-seat DA20 and take to the skies, you get that feeling. The DA20 is sporty, sleek, and fun, but it's also surprisingly economical. It delivers great performance, durability, and economy for commercial training. Diamond Aircraft introduced the DA20 in 1992 with a price tag of $279,800. It uses a 125 horsepower Continental IO 240 engine with a Sensenit 2-blade fixed-pitch propeller in front running on avgas. This plane comes with a comfortable sporty cockpit of 2 seats, a fighter-like canopy, responsive center stick pushrod controls, and the comfortable bucket seats. The plane's maximum cruise speed is 130 knots, and it can only stall at 45 knots. The rate of climb is 830 feet per minute, and it can fly as high as 13,100 feet. This plane measures 35 feet 9 inches in wingspan, 7 feet 1 inch in height, and a length of 23 feet 9 inches. The maximum takeoff load is 1,764 pounds or 800 kilos, with a usable fuel capacity of 24 U.S. gallons. It's equipped with the Garmin G500 TXI avionics system, which seamlessly integrates with a variety of optional sensors and data links to support the latest weather and traffic monitoring capabilities. It can also be used as a multiple display or as a dedicated standalone. With all these features, the plane offers excellent climb and cruise performance even at higher density altitudes. Moreover, this aircraft is certified for flying at night VFR. It is mostly used for flight training because of its good stall and spin characteristics. It's also a perfect choice for private flying for those who already have their pilot's license. Tecnam P2010. The cutting-edge Tecnam P2010 is the world's most advanced high-wing, modern single-engine aircraft. Balanced controls, unsurpassed stability. This aircraft combines performance and comfort into a seductive IFR package. Thanks to its smooth design, gently upswept wings, and sculpted cowling, the Tecnam P2010 cuts through the air with speed, ease, and efficiency. It was introduced in April 2011, designed and built in Italy. The price is $345,000, but if you want some extra cool features like an interior upgrade, a Garmin GFC 700 autopilot, a traffic advisory system, and storm scope, the price will easily go up to $400,000. This plane is powered by a Lycoming IO 360 engine that pumps out 180 horsepower. The fuel capacity is 63 U.S. gallons, and you can carry up to 88 pounds of baggage weight. It climbs at a rate of 841 feet per minute with a max cruise speed of 137 knots and a stall speed of 52 knots. The range is 530 nautical miles, and it operates at a maximum altitude of 12,000 feet. This plane measures 25.98 feet in length, with a height of 8.66 feet and a wingspan of 33.79 feet. It's equipped with the twin-screen G1000 NXI avionics system, a new flat-panel suit with an integrated GFC 700 autopilot avionics system, which is one of the best out there. This plane is the best choice for families or professionals due to its precise and easy handling. Cessna 172 Skyhawk. Learning to fly is one of the most liberating experiences one can have. The Cessna Skyhawk piston is the most popular single-engine aircraft ever manufactured, earning the title of Ideal Training Aircraft. The Cessna Skyhawk piston has a moderate landing speed and a merciful stall thanks to its simple flight characteristics, excellent visibility, and a sophisticated glass cockpit with Grumman G1000 avionics. These features make it a popular flight training aircraft, especially for student pilots, and it's designed to help you soar. It's equipped with a 180 horsepower Lycoming IO360 engine with a two-blade metal propeller. The plane has the simplest flight characteristics, great visibility due to its high-level wings, and a sophisticated glass cockpit, which is the Grumman G1000 NXI avionics system. It measures 36 feet 1 inch in wingspan, has a height of 8 feet 11 inches, and a length of 27 feet 2 inches. Cruise speed is 124 knots, but if you go on full power, it can fly as fast as 160 knots, with a service ceiling of 14,000 feet. The stall speed is 48 knots, which is one of the best in its class. It costs between $369,000 and $438,000, depending on the options you choose. Diamond DA40 NG. The DA40, offered with either jet fuel or avgas engine, is the smart choice whether you're a rookie aviator looking for the perfect first airplane or an experienced IFR pilot with sophisticated tastes. The DA40 is a fantastic airplane for travel, leaseback, and training because of its robust composite airframe, ultra-low fuel burn, and excellent handling. It is one of the newest lines of single-engine piston light airplanes, and it costs between $389,800 and $494,765, depending on the options. The plane is powered by an Austro engine AE300 running on Jet A1, pumping out 168 horsepowers. The maximum speed is 154 knots, and it can fly as high as 16,000 feet. With a rate of climb of 649 feet per minute, it's not one of the fastest climbing airplanes, but if you go for the DA40 XLT, which uses a Lycoming engine, you can climb as fast as 910 feet per minute. It has a fuel capacity of 39 US gallons, which gives it a maximum range of 940 nautical miles. The wingspan measures 38 feet 3 inches, height of 6 feet 6 inches, and the length of 26 feet 5 inches, which makes it a great glider in the event of an engine failure. The DA40 is a solid choice among single-engine airplanes with a durable composite airframe, ultra-low fuel burn, and outstanding handling that make it unique from almost any other aircraft. And it holds the best safety record among single-engine aircraft. Cirrus SR20. This plane made its first flight in 1995 in the role of a light aircraft. With its whole airframe parachute, the SR20 redefined safety in civil aviation. The price for the SR20 starts at $454,900 and goes up to $554,900 depending on the options you go for. Some additional features like air conditioning, Cirrus Global Connect, Hartzell lightweight carbon composite prop or Tanis avionics, and engine preheater are installed on demand. It uses a 215 horsepower Lycoming IO360 engine with a 3-blade propeller. The max cruise speed is 155 knots, and the stall speed with flaps is 57 knots, which makes it great for students and new pilots, and it can fly at a maximum altitude of 17,500 feet. The wingspan measures 38 feet 4 inches with a height of 8 feet 11 inches and a length of 26 feet. The flight deck is installed with Cirrus Perspective Plus, which is basically a Garmin avionics system with 10-inch screens and an autopilot that includes electronic stability and protection, dual altitude and heading reference systems, hypoxia check, an automatic descent mode, and autopilot stall protection. The plane provides a great level of safety with its Cirrus airframe parachute system. Tecnam P2006T. The P2006T Light Twin is a one-of-a-kind product that is both versatile and cost-effective. With this plane, you get more than a twin for less than a single. It has established itself as the aircraft of choice for both private owners and the world's most recognized flight training institutions. It's a favorite among leading general aviation journalists who commend its design, handling, and cheap operating expenses. With 2 engines, a constant-speed propeller, and retractable gear, this aircraft provides a complex training environment at a fraction of the cost of competitors. It was introduced in 2010 and is unique, elegant, and one of the few planes in its class to come with retractable landing gear. It uses the Rotax 9112 S3, providing 100 horsepower each to a 2-blade propeller on each side. The max cruise speed is 145 knots, and the stall speed is 55 knots with a maximum altitude level of 14,000 feet. The plane climbs at a rate of 1,036 feet per minute with a range of 650 nautical miles. The maximum takeoff weight is 2,717 pounds, which allows 176 pounds of baggage weight and a fuel tank capacity of 52.8 US gallons. It measures about 29 feet in length, with a height of just over 9 feet and a wingspan of 37 feet. Its high wings offer a great level of visibility and easy access for passengers and luggage, and the aluminum airframe brings the cost down and makes it relatively easy to maintain. The avionics is the latest G1000 NXI IFR avionics technology with an integrated S-Tech 55 autopilot. The Garmin 800 traffic advisory system enhances the safety of flight in the Tecnam P2006T. This plane cost around $625,000. Piper Seminole. The Seminole is without a doubt the best twin-engine trainer on the market. It outperforms the competition in terms of dependability, longevity, and value. Thousands of pilots have trained in the Seminole, and this Seminole is generations ahead with its tried-and-true design, power plants, and handling characteristics. Other twin-engine trainers exist, but none compared to the Seminole. It is equipped with 2 reliable Lycoming IO360 engines, which produce 180 horsepower each, with 2 bladed propellers in front. The fuel capacity is 108 US gallons, which gives it a maximum range of 700 nautical miles when flying at a maximum cruise speed of 162 knots. In the cockpit, you'll find the Garmin G1000 NXI avionics suite, which is currently the most successful avionics system. The interior is designed to give you maximum comfort. The ergonomic seating keeps the students and the instructors relaxed, allowing them to focus on their flight and lesson. Air conditioning is available as an option. Even if you're not looking for a trainer, this plane has great safety features like electronic stability protection, a blue button for automatic level mode, underspeed protection, and a go-around button, which make it a good personal airplane. You can get the Seminole for around $650,000. BeechCraft G36 Bonanza. If you're looking for unmatched craftsmanship, this piston engine powerhouse is designed and built to be certified in the rugged utility category. With first-class technology, comfort, and world-class quality, this plane is ready for any adventure you might want to embark on. Power comes from a 300 horsepower Continental IO550 engine with 3-bladed propellers in front. This variant was introduced in 2006 and is the latest variant since 1947. The price starts at $777,000. Speaking of performance, the maximum climb rate is 1,230 feet per minute with a cruise speed of 196 knots and a 900 nautical mile range. The Bonanza can carry 6 occupants and 70 pounds of baggage. Just like many other light planes, the Bonanza G36 is equipped with the Grumman G1000 NXI, which is one of the best out there. Cessna 206 Turbo Stationair HD. The turbocharged capability of the Stationair HD is designed to match your mission needs, whether you're communicating with 5 people, loading stuff through the 2 rear cargo doors, landing on a small dirt airstrip, or splashing in at a remote lake on amphibious floats. This plane does it for you. The Stationair HD pushes the boundaries of what's possible and doesn't force you to pick between practicality and comfort. It broadens your horizons so you can go practically anywhere. It's equipped with the Lycoming TIO 540 engine, which has 3 bladed metal propellers and an output of 310 horsepower. The base price of this plane is $747,500, but to get one fully equipped, it'll cost you about $900,000. It has a maximum cruise speed of 161 knots and can only stall at 57 knots, which is particularly great. This plane is equipped with the latest technology in avionics, the Grumman G1000 NXI, and the service ceiling is 26,000 feet, making it one of the highest flying airplanes in its class. The maximum range is 703 nautical miles. Cirrus SR22T. The SR22T is one of the most beautiful and safest airplanes out there, primarily because of its whole airframe parachute system. The starting price is about $750,900, but if you want it fully equipped, you're looking at $850,000 to $1 million. Power comes from a 315 horsepower Continental TSIO 550 turbocharged engine, which helps it to offer a maximum cruise speed of 213 knots and a maximum operating altitude of 25,000 feet with a 1,021 nautical mile maximum range at 55% power. The interior is very stylish with 5 seats that have lifestyle comfort and an air-conditioned environment. The new safety innovative system that includes electronic stability and protection and the Cirrus airframe parachute system provides a wide layer for the pilot and passenger safety. The aircraft has 38 feet 4 inches in wingspan, a height of 8 feet 11 inches, and a length of 26 feet. The flight deck is equipped with the latest Cirrus Perspective integrated avionics system with dual flight displays, making you aware of the situation, and a fully digital autopilot system. Before you decide to buy any of the planes listed here, first, remember that buying an airplane is only part of the cost of owning a plane. How much fuel it burns and how expensive it will be to maintain are equally important factors to consider. Also, consider how readily available the parts are. Finally, consider the condition of the plane you're buying. If you were to get a plane with unknown or unrevealed problems, you could spend some money on getting it into perfect condition. The engine and prop are a critical part of that calculation. The flip side is that if you're willing to buy a plane with older paint and a less-than-chic interior, you could save a huge percentage of the purchase price because of factors not directly related to the flyability or mechanical soundness of the plane. If you like our videos, please smash the like and subscribe button. You can also join us by clicking on the link next to the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.